Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so, man, I'm not really sure what I want to talk about. I just figured I'd turn on the camera and let it rip. So, very pleased about the Lakers winning yesterday. Very pleased about them winning the Miami game, especially given how bad they looked in the first half, coming back from down 14 to get a comeback victory. I don't think I realized that we weren't very successful with comeback games. I think it's understood that we've lost our share of games, but I guess it just didn't register to me that we have opportunities to come back and have failed to pretty much throughout the course of this season. It didn't even really cross my mind. But that's obvious. When you lose, you don't come back. So, in a lot of situations we've been down by 10, down by 15 or what have you, and we're just not able to overcome that until last night against the Heat where we were able to. So, yeah, I think that's one of those most obvious things that I just didn't come to mind. But yeah, the Lakers have kind of sucked at that. But I've heard other people say that, and it's true. We need to do a better job just in general throughout the course of the next 3 months, the rest of the season, and try not to get down first of all. But in the event that we do, try to hold on to our hope and continue to play as hard as we possibly can. So that we can get the opportunities that are available to us. Take advantage of teams when they take their foot off the gas, and sometimes they do. The teams take their foot off the gas. We got to be ready for that. And so that's really my attitude, man. I just want to see the Los Angeles Lakers put themselves in the strongest position and not have to worry too much about losing these games. You know what I mean? And more so think about what they have to do throughout the course of the game to work on their own individual goals. And if we take care of our individual goals, I'm a firm believer that success follows that. You know what I mean? So, for example, if we need to rebound the ball more, let's focus on rebounding the ball more, not necessarily having a hard time overcoming the player on the other side. If he's killing us, he's killing us. But if we get our 30 assists, we get our 55 boards, we shoot over 40% from behind the arc, taking good shots on high volume, solid volume, not too high, but reasonable volume, above 37 shots, I guess. When you take care of the things you can control, then you let the chips fall where they may, because your ceiling is capped off at a certain point. But the key is to not beat yourself and to take advantage of teams that beat themselves, whether they're more talented than you or not. And so, that's kind of what Jason Timpf was talking about in the video that I was watching a couple weeks ago that we referred to, is the Lakers can't afford to just not play well. You have to utilize strong principles on both sides of the floor in order to give yourself the best chance to win, because you don't have advantages in athleticism like, say, the Houston Rockets do, or you don't have hyper two-way talented players like the Boston Celtics made. So you got to play smart. You got to take care of the things that you can control, and if you master the ability to do that in enough areas, you're going to beat teams. You're going to maximize your ceiling. So that's really what it's about for our team, maximizing our ceiling, playing smart basketball. And I thought we did a great job of that yesterday in the second half specifically. And our defense was a lot better than I thought. But I think the key to it all for me was, and I said I don't think that we did too much impressing on the defensive end. In part of my video, I said something along those lines. It was because I was considering the fullness of the first half and the second half combined, which made it so that we were the tale of two halves defensively. Second half, I thought we were really good defensively. First half, I thought we struggled mightily trying to slow down a very, very hot Tyler Hero. So that's kind of what it was, but I thought the energy was good. And I thought we were doing good things even in the first half as it pertains to hitting shots. I thought we were getting enough production out of everybody in some areas, but it just felt like a carryover of the same struggle. And I was frustrated with that because we had been on, a 3-game losing streak up until that point. Losing against teams that we know we should probably beat, with the exception of the Rockets, who I think is a little better than us. But, all in all, Lakers figured themselves out in that second half against the Heat and got our revenge going. And I was really, really satisfied with that effort and the overall taking care of the things we can control. You know what I mean? So that's what the team needs to continue to do. I was very happy with Gabe Vincent's production since he took them braids out and let Fro Gabe be something that we see. I think he should never put them braids back in his head for the rest of his life. I really don't think he should ever do it. Stay Fro Gabe forever, buddy. This is a difference. There's a difference in that player. Keep the fro. And as he does that, seems like the production follows, man. Seems like the confidence follows. He's hitting that corner 3 ball as well as he ever has, for our team anyway. And the defense has been solid. He's even been contributing in some assist categories, you know. And so I'm really happy with what I've seen over Gabe Vincent over the last 2 games. Heck, he's really played pretty solid. A little inconsistent here and there. You have the bad game here and there, but not too many of them over the last month. He's really had a pretty solid December and start of January for the most part, based on the standards that we have for him, which were not high. But as he continues to play better, we expect more. And I want to see him continue to play better, of course. So another thing that I wanted to say is I was listening to Trevor Lane assess Dalton Knecht, and he was essentially saying Dalton Knecht doesn't really do anything if he's not scoring. I've seen him do things when he's not scoring. The slump that he's in is a full-on basketball slump. It ain't just a shooting slump. He's in a whole basketball slump. He's not playing up to the level of his capability in really any of the categories necessary. And that's my concern with Dalton Knecht. I don't know if he's got some off-the-court stuff going on. You know, I wouldn't even know the first thing to say. But what I do believe is that he's in a full-on basketball slump. In just about every aspect of the game, he's struggling with. His rebounding is down. His assist numbers can be better. And of course, the shot is just horrible. He's been 19%, I guess, over a certain period of time. I'm not sure exactly how long they were tracing back when they said that stat. But 19% is where they're saying he's shooting at this point from behind the arc. And we know this is a very talented basketball player, so there should be absolutely no reason at all for him to be shooting this bad. So that's really what it comes down for me. I just think that he's in a basketball slump. And when it comes down to it, if he's not shooting well, he should still be able to get offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, steals. There are things that Dalton Knecht can contribute, and he's not. And so he needs to figure it out. Getting 2 and 3 rebounds, 0 rebounds in certain games, that's not a shooting slump. That's a basketball slump. And he's got to get his head into this game. And he's too old, even though he's a rookie. He's 23 years old. He should not be just completely wigging out there like he is right now. And that's my point of view, that he's completely wigging out. And that's what I see there. So hopefully he can get his act together, man. I'm a believer in his game overall. I don't think the slump is going to last. And if you sell low on him right now, I'm certain you'll regret it. I'm certain of that. But for the time being, can he play at a level that contributes? Because he is a hell of a trade piece. And we really do need to abandon his particular timeline for LeBron's. If we're being consistent about everything that we're doing. People want us to trade picks and stuff like that. You probably should trade the young fella too, if you want to be consistent. Now, that's not what I think we should do. I more so want to hold on to my young pieces that can develop tomorrow. But if they can't contribute today, we do have a pressing need to contribute today. And I understand why people are concerned, because Dalton is not contributing right now. And we know how high he can go with his ceiling. We saw the Utah game. We saw the Phoenix preseason game. We know how good he can be. And that's the part that I think is very frustrating. If he played like this all season, and we just write him out as a bust. But that we've seen the supreme ceiling of this player makes it so that you want to believe in him. And so I just think he's in a very bad slump. Man, I hope he snaps out of it, because he's a really talented player. So yeah, that's what I think of Dalton, man. I think all in all, I'm happy he's here, but I don't know how long I can support him being here if this slump continues, based on the severity of our timeline and the need for talent and what it is he can potentially garner us. It's going to be hard to make the argument that we shouldn't be pushing off onto another team for a more win-now piece. And so I hope it doesn't come to that. It has yet to come to that. But if we're going to do things for this timeline, it's probably going to come to that if he keeps playing like that. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I'm a believer in Dalton Knecht. I want him to stay a Laker. I don't have any interest in giving up on the young player, just like I don't have a whole lot of good thoughts about us giving up on Quincy Olivari either. You know, when it comes to the Quincy situation, I haven't really given that as much thought as I figured I would in a situation like this. If this would have happened 2 months ago, I would have thrown a complete fit. But it's one of those situations where I just thought he was phased out in our situation, and our politics are so so sickening for me, because at the end of the day, you're talking about a basketball player who plays the same position as Bronny. You know, I felt the same way about Scottie Pippen. We moved on from Scottie Pippen not for basketball reasons, but because we weren't going to have somebody as some other superstar's son playing the point guard position competing with Bronny, and we knew we were going to bring in Bronny. It's the politics of it that ultimately makes it so that I don't want to discuss it, because I think that's the only reason why Quincy Olivari was not a part of our team right now, because of the politics. And it's a rabbit hole that is very sickening for a Laker fan like myself, who started watching the Lakers 30 years ago when Sedale Threatt and Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel and Vlade Divac and Eldon Campbell were on the team, you know? Like, these type of things. You know, that Laker team could have used a Quincy Olivari way back then. He would have been one of our best players. Like, you know what I'm saying? One of our best prospects. Nick Van Exel looked like Quincy Olivari when he first got in this league. Like, it's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. So for me, it's extra irritating to see the Lakers go down this path, especially given how much we've messed up in the same area, especially given our needs for a ball handler and a connective piece, and for three-point shooting and defensive ability, for which Quincy provides, for all the needs that we need. And you're telling me that's who you gave up on, so you could bring in a center whom I like the acquisition of Trey Jemison, but his ceiling is not very high. I don't expect him to be on a two-way for long. He's a very necessary piece so long as we don't have that strong center. Once you get that strong center, he's no longer as useful to this unit, and we damn know it. We damn know it. And so I think I speak for a whole lot of Laker Nation when I say moving on from Quincy Olivari is something we would not have co-signed at all. Not at all. And when he goes on to be what it is that we ultimately think he's going to be, we will blame this regime for removing him from our franchise. You know what I mean? Literally. And so that's what I want to say, man. I'm very unhappy about that. A lot more unhappy than I'm actually saying. But you know, you gotta just watch this regime make their decisions and see what the outcome will be. You know, I'll say this: I didn't particularly find myself on board with some of the moves we made in 2020. I thought we were too old. I did, and that team went on to win the championship. I'm not always right. Sometimes you just got to see the finishing touches on what it is that people are doing. Maybe you don't like the path that they're going to get there, but maybe in the end you find yourself satisfied. I don't know. I don't see that coming, but I didn't see it coming then. I'll say that. And we got that championship, so I don't know, man. I just want the Los Angeles Lakers to get through this era, man. Get through this era, and a part of me hopes some of it is just like I'd say it like this. I don't really believe in some of the decisions we made, of course, as we talked about on various videos on this channel. If they work out, great. Then I can adjust my thinking and say, okay, this is an operation that works for us. But if it doesn't work out, great, because it can teach others not to do this anymore. I guess is what I'm saying. They could teach people not to, teach our franchise not to go down that path anymore. And I think that's a good thing too. So I'm not rooting for stuff to fail, but there's certain things that I think do fail. And if they do fail, it's not just, see, I told you so, that I'm looking forward to and all of that. It's that people learn not to do certain things that just flat out shouldn't be done, in my opinion. But only time will tell if the opinion is valid. And that's really what it comes down to. I'm not sure that opinion will stand if we are successful. So, you know, that's really what it comes down to. But this politic thing for the superstar thing, I don't necessarily see it working out for us. When we have to give up Scottie Pippen and Quincy Olivari just so that the superstar cannot feel like he's being stepped on or feel like he's getting the privilege that, you know, I don't like it, man. And I wish LeBron James wasn't on board with this. I really do. I just wish he wasn't. But it is what it is, man. People are, you know, it's probably bigger than the person. And you talk about the corporation surrounding LeBron James and the image and the family image and what it's, you know, it all. It's probably some other people who are behind Bron or around Bron that just say, yo, get Quincy out of here, man. don't have Scotty on the team when Bronny get here. Like, I think that could potentially be a thing. I think it could be. Just the powers that be behind and around LeBron to say, you know what? Nah, we don't want any competition for Bronny. It's bad for our business. This dude pushing Bronny for minutes. This dude doing the stuff that we expect Bronny to do. This dude having all types of charisma and stuff like that on top of the good play. Becoming a fan favorite at Bronny's position. It can potentially push us to move on from Bronny and ultimately keep this kid. We don't want to go down that path. I can see that being a thing, man. I can see it being a thing. But I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I'll tell you that. So, yeah, man, I'm pro Quincy Olivari, and that's how I feel about that. It's like I'm pro Scottie Pippen Jr., man, and if I were running the franchise, those people would both be on the team. And that's it. And Bronny ain't going to be ready for another 3 years any damn way, if I'm being honest with people. I don't think he's going to be a rotational piece next year either. I really don't. I think he's going to be nice when he does get ready, but he ain't ready. He's killing it in the G League, which is exactly what I thought I would see after he got comfortable down there. But now that he's killing it in the G League, I think he needs to stay down there and keep killing it. I really do. Keep grinding, man. Go out there and win, get an all-star in the G League. You know, do something that kind of propels people to say, okay, this dude is undeniable, let's put him in the league. Because right now, I just think that they want to push him into the league, and if he's not ready when you do it, it's no good. And if you're going to keep on having people get stepped on in his name and he's not ready when he comes up, it could be even worse. And guys like Quincy Olivari getting stepped on and stuff like that, and you rush Bronny into the league, it could be ugly for him. So I'm rooting for Bronny. I wouldn't necessarily cut him either. You know, I think, and when you talk about rebuilding situations, you want prospects. You want young prospects in the wing 2 or 3 years out, because when LeBron James retires, you want to have as many talented young pieces as possible. So Bronny's one of them for me. Scotty would have been another one. Alex Fudge would have been another one. You know, that. And this is something else that I think is just kind of obvious, but it's worth stating. I think our needs in our roster has forced us to do things in giving up young prospects that probably were ill-advised. Like, because we needed a center, we needed to drop a player to bring in Koloko. You know what I mean? Because like that type of stuff is like, okay, but I think your franchise would be happy to have whoever you drop for Koloko 4 years from now when that player's ready and LeBron James and Anthony Davis are gone. Should you not have tried to hold on to as many of those young athletic prospects, develop them in the G League slowly but surely on your two-way opportunity contracts? And then when they're ready 3, 4, 5 years from now you got your successors, role players that can kind of come in and make for a full basketball team. You can just sign another superstar who want to live in LA. I mean, that seemed like the plan to me, man. That seemed like the plan. But people are saying, well, we got to move this guy, got to move that guy because we need a center. Okay, that center didn't work out. All right, well, let's let go of that young player and bring in this role guy because we need another center. It's like, we've done that like 2 or 3 times now. Shuffling through two-way players simply because we need certain things on our big guy roster. But if you're bringing in prospects that are subpar role-playing prospects only to be shuffled out for different two-way prospects, aren't you defeating the purpose of what ultimately preparing for your rebuild is going to be providing you? Which is to find these young guys and like develop them. We moved on from Max Lewis. I wasn't in love with Max Lewis as a prospect, but like I still think Max Lewis could potentially be a nice swingman with some athleticism and some scoring ability. Pieces like that, you know, I mean, should they not be developed? You let him go, and then you bring back Dodo, which is fine, but you also brought in, what's the name, Shake Milton. He's a subpar dude, you know what I mean? He's a guy that's probably going to be in China very soon. Not a whole lot of upside, so it's like you keep on bringing us lesser guys, man. You're letting go upside, and you're bringing in role guys that are likely going to be in China. So it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't like what we're doing from a talent acquisition perspective right now. Just like right now, I don't really like any of this. And I understand it's a necessity that you bring in a muscle-bound dude like Jemison. I'm happy Jemison is here. But do I think that Jemison's got the upside of Quincy Olivari or the upside of Max Lewis? Hell no. Like, absolutely not. I understand Shake Milton is a throw-in, but do I expect that he's going to help me as much as Max Lewis will someday or Quincy Olivari will someday? Of course not. Like, so it's like you keep bringing me players that are like not really good, and you keep getting rid of guys who are not really good right now but likely project to be pretty good later on. So it's like you're dumbing down my overall talent level with these decisions that you've been making lately, man. Like, that's the God's honest truth. And though you having a hard time getting a center, it doesn't mean bring me a scrub at the center position. And it's like the way things are set up, the best center that I think we have in our backup situation is Christian Koloko. But he's on a two-way. And then I got a guy like Jackson Hayes who's not that great on a regular contract. So now I'm forced to use Jackson Hayes more, even though the eye test tells you that you're probably best for using Koloko more. Koloko got to sit in the G League whilst Jackson Hayes gets to play with the big team. And he's not better than Koloko. So it's like, yo, man, this type of crap, if I'm being completely honest with you, is why I'm at the end of the road with Rob Pelinka. Like, I'm there now. I wasn't there until about yesterday. I was assessing things. I was wondering. I was a little frustrated. But now it's like, all right, bro, I'm pretty much done. I'm good. I'm good, man. I like that you've been holding on to my picks, but that's about the only thing I've really been pleased with over the last couple months. It's gotten significantly worse as it pertains to the talent level. I don't think my team is better than it was before you started making moves lately. The cuts that you've made, I don't agree with. One or two of them is fine, but all of them together, you done brought me significantly less talented players. Like, literally. Significantly less talented. I done lost Quincy Olivari, Max Lewis, and I done gained Shake Milton and Trey Jemison. Like, nah, bro. Nah, this is a downgrade in talent. It's literal downgrade in talent. I lost D'Lo and I brought in Dorian Finney-Smith. Downgrade in talent. Maybe more of a need for my positions, but these guys aren't better than the people that are going out. They're not. Now Quincy Olivari, you add to that conversation. Like, we're losing stuff. We're losing stuff, y'all. They're bringing us trash. If I'm being honest with y'all, they're bringing us trash. And why are we in a world where Lonnie Walker and Markelle Fultz are not in the league, but Trey Jemison and Shake Milton are? What the hell is the NBA even doing if that's going to be what's going on there? Do I need to tell you that those two other players are better than the two guys we got on our roster? Like, do I have to say that? You know what I mean? Elfrid Payton getting 17 assists and he don't have a roster spot? Like, what the hell are y'all doing, man? Honestly. Have we not reached a space where the contractual system is phasing out good talent and welcoming in scrubs? Are we not in a space where we're able to see that that's the data that we're seeing right now? You're bringing us scrubs and you're letting real pros not be in the league. Players with upside being pushed to the back of the bench for role guys who've been in the league for 7-8 years and ain't proved nothing. Like, I want people to understand that there's a direct correlation between this collective bargaining agreement and the way that these contracts are structured and a dumbing down of the overall talent level in the uniforms that we're rooting for. Because that is exactly what that data is showing us. And not just on our team, on a lot of teams. This is what's happening. And so for me, I just think we're in that weird space where we need to really get rid of this collective bargaining agreement, and we need to really restructure how we divvy out guaranteed contracts and the such so that talent and upside can be realized in the representation of our roster spots. Because if I need a center, because I done did all these different things within the structure of my collective bargaining agreement that phases out my center based on the possibilities of what could be done with certain moves that had to be made were made. Now I'm welcoming in guys out of necessity for position, not necessarily for upside and talent. And do I need to tell the owners that you're paying too much for that? These guys cost too much for that. You're phasing out experts for scrubs out of necessity. That tell you right there your system's screwed, man. That tell you right there your system is messed up. But that's exactly what I'm looking at. Because the Lakers couldn't get a center, now they need a big dude. So they're phasing out a good upside guy for a scrub-ass big dude. Like, hell no, man. Ain't no way that should be what's going on out here. Ain't no way you want to spend millions and millions of dollars on something like that if you're the owners. No way. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. As a Laker fan, I'm frustrated with it. But as an NBA fan, I'm looking at it like, this is absolutely absurd. You guys have ruined this thing. You really have. Player assessment is at an all-time low, in my opinion. People don't know what the hell they're paying for out here. That dude is absolutely not better than that other dude. Not even close. And yet he on the roster. You got the worst players on regular roster spots, and you got good players on two-ways. Like, what kind of stupid crap is that? And you put that dumbass restriction in there where you can only play 50 games. Why would you put that restriction in there? Players on a two-way only could play 2 games, 50 games. What? Wait. It's bad enough this conundrum's in place. You couldn't foresee this, but now you put structural restrictions in there so that guys can't play as much, even though they obviously could play up the level that they otherwise need to. This is why this dynamic with Jackson Hayes is going on. I can't quickly fluctuate Jackson Hayes to a two-way for which he deserves to be on, and Koloko into a position of being on my roster fully rather quickly, and to add insult to injury, now I just can only play Koloko 50 games. On top of the fact that he got this worst player in his spot. Come on, man. Two-way players should be able to play infinite amount of games just like anybody else, bro. But because they want to booster the G League with good talent, players that should be in the big leagues full season are ultimately down there in the G League putting up all-star stats down there because they should never be down there in the first place. It's garbage, man. It's absolute trash. And so that's what I'm here to tell y'all, man. Somebody got to point this out. This dynamic is horrible, man. Jackson Hayes should be in China, man. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. That boy ain't been that good at all. I know he was drafted 7th overall like a million years ago with Zion or whatever, but he ain't been that great at all, man. He's just not that great. Christian Koloko is just flat out a better player. Not by a whole lot, but like a clear amount. Clear amount. And this contract crap got him down there much less than the guy he's much better than, or better than. Rather. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Players like Quincy Olivari barely have a spot in the roster. And I'm sitting here with Shake Milton. Man, this is trash. I'm telling y'all. I am telling y'all. And so that's what it is, man. I'm about done here, man. This is a very, very restrictive collective bargaining agreement, and it takes a certain type of maneuverability, and you got to start from a good spot in order to be able to get good things in this collective bargaining agreement. And we're starting from a bad spot because of decisions made by the same guy who's in place right now, struggling with how to get talent on this team because of both. And I'm over it. I'm about ready to move on from people. Bring me somebody who understands this, who understands how to get us back to a spot of strength, not just work within a position of weakness and struggle, but somebody who knows how to reset our situation and put us back in a spot from which we can actually maneuver within this collective bargaining agreement. That's what we need. Somebody who understands how to fix crap. And Rob Pelinka doesn't appear to know how to fix this. He knew how to screw it up, but he definitely know how to fix it. So while some people are mad because he didn't go out and get player X in trade, I'm sitting here looking at stuff like this. Like, this is where we're really struggling, man. And then, of course, we talked about the choices to bring not-so-athletic players to our team, not-so-connective pieces, guys that don't really make other people better, just throwing so many of these people on the same team at the same time. It's like, yo, we wonder why you can't get it together. No, these are the problems. It ain't what people say it is. It's not that you didn't give away all your picks and bring back Walker Kessler or whatever people are talking about. No. This is your problem. And so, like, I get to the crux of the issue for real, man. I don't doubt that there's more to it than what I've discussed here, but there's still plenty to discuss within this framework of what I'm saying right here. People are not bringing us the better talent, and they're struggling within mistakes that have already been made, and they got to maneuver a certain way in order for us to at least be a good enough team to compete with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, or people got to be willing to part ways with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, man. And I know nobody's willing to do that. It may not be the right time for that. I respect that and think that myself, but at the same time, you got these guys hanging on and they're not winning, not like they're supposed to be. We're happy to beat the Heat, but we're losing to Dallas without all their stars. And we're losing to a young Rockets team without, Jabari Smith on the floor. Like, there's a lot of stuff there that ultimately caps us off at mediocre, and mediocre is not a space to be capped off at. It's not when you have this type of talent on your team, man. It's just not. So I don't think we should do anything brash until the end of the season. But at the end of the season, I'm cool, man. It's time to start moving off of people, man. It's time to start moving off of people. Seriously. And we need to reset our situation, in my opinion, and put ourselves in a position of strength from which to work through this impossible collective bargaining agreement, if at all possible. We need picks. We need young talent. And that's what we need. It may not be what we want, but it's definitely what you need, so that you can reset your situation to be in a position of strength. And do right by the superstars just like you say you want to. Many people say they want to be, want to be star friendly. Okay, well, don't hold a star hostage when you know you can't win anymore. That's a message I want to send to all my superstars. Hey, look, man, we'll hold on to you as long as we can help you win. If we can't help you win, we will not hold you hostage. Isn't that a consistent message for pro-star situations? Or is it just contingent on you getting the money that ultimately they garner by putting bodies in seats? And you're hopeful they're stupid enough to see that. They're stupid enough to just ignore that part of it. I'm sorry. You want to send a message to superstars with the fullness that you have their back? You don't hold them against their will in losing situations. Lying to them, telling them that you're willing to do things that is not in your best interest to do in order to fulfill the talent expectations that they have for the team that they're on. No, you send them to a team that can fulfill those obligations and move on. So that's my point of view on the Lakers, man. I'm not upset at the fact that we won the game yesterday, obviously, but that's like one game, you know what I mean? That's not the fullness of what it is I'm looking at. And I always appreciate throwing a Band-Aid on something that hurts, but if it's a gunshot wound, that's not really gonna cut it, you know what I'm saying? I might have been hit in the head with a brick. You can hand me an aspirin, but I'm probably gonna need a little more than that, you know what I mean? Like, literally. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. I want my team to get back to bringing athletic and high-level young talent to our squad, man. All this lack of athleticism, doubling and tripling down on dudes that can barely run up and down the floor, barely pass the rock to one another, ain't got no court vision, court blind, basically, is a lot of. I'm over it, man. I'm over it, and I want people to know how over it I am. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching.